Hey everyone, thanks for joining me in another video today. I've got a truly remarkable story for you, one filled with love, resilience, and some profound spiritual insights. It's about a woman who, after experiencing the heartbreak of losing her soulmate, went through a near-death experience that shifted her entire understanding of life, death, and even her faith in Jesus. Trust me, what she discovered is going to challenge everything you've been taught about religion. But before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and give us a thumbs up. It really helps us keep bringing you these incredible stories. Let me introduce myself. I'm Elena Rivers, 66 years young, residing in Willowbrook, Maine. I'm a proud widow, a mother to 3 wonderful kids, and a grandmother to 5 delightful grandchildren. For over 30 years, I worked as a literature teacher before heading into retirement. Honestly, my life has been pretty ordinary. I'm the sort of person you'd find at the local supermarket or enjoying a walk in the park with my dogs. Although I was raised in a Christian household and attended church occasionally, I wouldn't say I was particularly religious. My late husband, Samuel, and I grew up together, blossoming from childhood friends into partners who crafted a beautiful life over 41 years of marriage. He was everything to me, a confidant, a source of comfort, and my best friend. Our relationship wasn't without its flaws, of course, but it was built on a foundation of love, respect, and an abundance of patience. Then, heartbreak struck. Samuel passed away after battling a rare form of cancer, and it devastated me. Losing him left a void that felt impossible to fill. The grief was unbearable. In the aftermath, I spiraled into a deep depression. I hardly ate, struggled to sleep, and had zero motivation to engage in anything at all. My children tried their best to support me, but I pushed them away. Anger consumed me. Anger at the world, at God, wondering how he could take Samuel from me. It's funny in a way how life can throw unexpected surprises your way. I thought I was just an average person, but then something extraordinary happened in my life. An experience that flipped my notions of existence upside down. It all began on a regular day, about a month following Samuel's passing. It had finally taken me some time, but I mustered the courage to step outside. I made my way to the park, a place filled with echoes of laughter and cherished moments shared with Samuel. It was here that I once brushed shoulders with death, setting off a series of events that would change everything for me. On that chilly autumn morning, the sky was overcast, and a heavy sense of melancholy hung in the air. The thoughts of Samuel lingered in my mind, weighing me down like a stone. With each step I took towards our special spot, the memories flooded back. I recalled that bench where our relationship blossomed with our first kiss, the tree where we had countless picnics over the weekends, and the pond where we delighted in feeding the ducks. Now, everything felt hollow without him. When I finally settled onto our beloved bench by the lake, the coldness of the grass contrasted sharply with the warmth I once felt beside him. As I stared at the water mirroring the bleak sky above, my tears began to fall without a single sound. In that moment, I felt profoundly alone, as if lost in a vast emptiness where only Samuel had once occupied space. But then, in a twist that felt surreal, I sensed something different. I lifted my gaze and, to my shock, spotted a figure across the lake. My heart raced. It was Samuel, standing there, looking back at me with that gentle smile that I had longed to see. It couldn't possibly be real, yet a small part of me clung to the hope that it was. Without thinking, I sprang up, propelled by a mixture of despair and longing, my feet scarcely touching the ground. But as I sprinted toward him, it felt like he was slipping away, like wisps of fog caught in a breeze. "Samuel!" I called out, my voice trembling with a blend of longing and urgency, but he continued to drift away with that same serene smile, seemingly unaware of my struggle. Suddenly, a sharp pain pierced through my chest, as if someone had seized my heart in an unyielding grip. Darkness edged into my vision, and my legs grew weak beneath me. I collapsed onto the ground, the cold earth pressing against my face. In those final moments, just before everything faded, I glimpsed Samuel's face, now closer than before, his eyes radiating love and compassion, a stark contrast to my agony. Unbeknownst to me at that instant, I was experiencing a heart attack. Years of neglect and the heavy burden of my sorrow had finally taken their toll. As I lay there, unconscious and unresponsive, something remarkable began to unfold, something that would upend all my notions of existence. The next thing I knew, I was floating, free from pain, light as air, and completely separate from my body, enveloped in a sense of pure consciousness. It felt like I was enveloped in a comforting darkness, similar to a warm embrace. As I settled into this space, a small light caught my attention in the distance. Initially, it appeared as a mere speck, but as I drew nearer, it swelled in size and brightness. It was almost as if an inner longing within me was guiding my steps toward it. Upon approaching this glow, I realized it transformed into a tunnel, a passage of pure, radiant energy. The walls of this tunnel were alive, pulsing with colors I couldn't even begin to describe. Blues deeper than the oceans, greens more vivid than the lushest forests, and purples that seemed to hum with a melody all their own. Each hue seemed to resonate with distinct sounds and vibrations. As I journeyed through, I felt enveloped by a profound peace. All the burdens, worries, and fears that had weighed me down began to dissipate. The sharp pain of losing Samuel, which had felt so relentless, softened into a sweet ache, a longing filled with love and appreciation for the time we had shared. The movement through the tunnel was serene. It felt as though I was gently floating along a current. Fear and urgency were nowhere to be found. For the first time in ages, I experienced a sense of true tranquility. As I continued, a sound caught my ear. At first, it was simply a faint whisper, but it soon resolved into an exquisite melody, unlike anything I had encountered on earth. Each note resonated with pure love, and every chord was infused with compassion and joy. Then, I felt something even more remarkable: love. It was an all-encompassing love, deep and unconditional, stirring emotions so intense I fought back tears. It felt like being cradled by the entirety of the universe's affection. In that moment, a realization washed over me. I had never been truly alone. This love had always been there, waiting for me to acknowledge its presence. As I neared the tunnel's end, the light intensified, but instead of being overwhelming, it was uplifting and restorative. And there, at the exit of the passage, I caught sight of a radiant figure glowing with such purity that I could barely meet its gaze. I felt an overwhelming sense of divinity, like I was in the presence of something far greater than I could fathom. Suddenly, I heard a voice, one that seemed to echo from all directions yet remained distant at the same time. "Welcome, Elena," it said. "Are you ready to see?" With those words, the world erupted into a breathtaking fusion of light and love, ushering me into a journey that would completely transform my understanding of existence. When everything settled and the bright light around me calmed, I realized I was standing before a throne. This wasn't just any throne, like you might see in a castle or a church. It was crafted entirely from radiant light, vibrating with energy and life. On this throne sat something profound, not really a person in the usual sense. Instead, it felt more like an immense presence, a consciousness so vast and powerful that it seemed to fill every corner of my surroundings. The brightness radiating from it was overwhelming, almost too bright to look at directly, yet somehow it didn't hurt. It was as if my very being was adapting, allowing me to handle the enormity of what I was experiencing. Suddenly, this presence communicated, not with words but through thoughts that directly touched my mind. In that instant, I knew, beyond any doubt, that I was in the presence of something divine. "Elena," the voice echoed through my very being. It was as if it sensed the torrent of questions swelling within me. The anger, the pain, and the confusion that had consumed me since Sam's passing surged back, even though I didn't utter a word. My soul silently cried out, "Why did you take Sam from me? Why so much heartache?" Then something truly remarkable occurred. In a flash, my life played out before me like a movie, with every moment, every choice, the laughter and the tears on full display. I witnessed my childhood, my life with Sam, and the joy of raising our children. Through it all, I felt a profound love radiating from this divine presence. "Your daughter," the voice spoke gently, overflowing with endless compassion. "Samuel was not taken from you. He completed his purpose on earth. Each soul embarks on its own journey at its own time. What you see as an ending is merely a transition." As these words sank in, clarity washed over me. Life is not just a string of random occurrences, but rather a beautifully woven tapestry. Every experience and every connection had a reason behind it. Yet the pain, I began to grasp it, but before I could fully articulate my thoughts, I was enveloped in an incredible wave of love that nearly swept me off my feet. The anguish you feel, God explained, is merely a reflection of the love you both shared. It's a tribute to the beauty of your life together. Remember, Alina, love never truly dies. It simply changes form. At that moment, I felt an enormous weight lift from me. While the pain didn't vanish completely, it was transformed. No longer an open wound, it evolved into something more bearable. A cherished memory flashed before me, reminding me of the deep love shared between Samuel and me. Then, something profound unfolded as I recognized how my life had impacted those around me. I could see the influence my affection for Samuel had on our children, the way my kindness reached my students, and even how my struggles served as lessons for others. Elena, a gentle voice spoke to me, there's still so much for you to do. Your time on earth isn't finished yet. Oh, how I longed to linger in that presence filled with unconditional love and tranquility. Yet, deep down, I understood there was a bigger purpose awaiting me, an unfinished mission that called for my return. As I braced myself to go back, an overwhelming wave of divine love enveloped me. Always remember, Alina, the voice reassured, you are never truly alone. I am with you in every moment, in every breath. With that comforting message, I felt a soft pull guiding me back, carrying with me a newfound understanding and a peace that transcended anything I had ever known. In the midst of this heavenly experience, a sudden familiarity took me by surprise. I turned to my side, and there he was, Samuel, just as I remembered him from his happiest days before his illness struck. He flashed that smile that had always brightened my life and reached out his hand. Without a second thought, I took it. The instant our hands connected, a torrent of love surged through me, so powerful it nearly knocked me off my feet. Elena, my love, he said, his voice warm and familiar, it's wonderful to see you. I was overwhelmed with the urge to hug him, to kiss him, to hold on forever. Yet deep inside, I sensed this was different from the hugs we shared on earth. It was something deeper, something sacred. Oh, Samuel, I managed to say, my voice trembling with longing. I've missed you terribly. Life has been so empty without you. He squeezed my hand tenderly, his eyes radiating understanding and affection. I know, my love, I know, he replied softly, but I never really left you. I was always by your side. As he spoke, I realized the truth in his words. All those moments of inexplicable comfort, every time I thought I heard him or caught a hint of his presence, it had always been him. But why did you have to leave? The sharp sting of that loss resurfaced within me. Each of us has a unique path, Samuel replied gently, and our own timing. My journey on earth has come to an end, but yours continues. There's still so much love for you to give. With that, he took my hand, and we embarked on a wondrous tour, the scenery shifting around us. In an instant, we found ourselves in a garden bursting with indescribable beauty, the flowers dazzling in colors I had never seen before. The garden around me shimmered with an ethereal glow, the grass almost glowing underfoot, while melodies that felt celestial danced through the air. This is where I belong now, Samuel said to me, his eyes sparkling with a kind of joy I hadn't seen before. One day, it'll be our home together, but for now, my dear, not just yet. We strolled together, reminiscent of our leisurely walks in the park. Samuel shared stories of his new life, painting a picture of a serene existence filled with unconditional love. He spoke to me about our future, our children and grandchildren, describing how he felt their presence, how he adored them in a way that was beyond earthly comprehension. Then he paused, holding my hands firmly, his expression serious yet warm. Elena, he urged, you must return. Our children are waiting for you. The world still needs your love and kindness. His words struck a chord deep within me. I knew he was right, but the thought of being apart from him once more shattered my heart. How do I carry on without you? I asked, tears brimming in my eyes. Samuel gently brushed my cheek with his thumb. You're never alone, Elena. I'm with you in every moment. One day, in the right time, we'll be united forever. His embrace enveloped me, and I could feel the weight of our shared love, our countless memories, all woven together through that single touch. It felt like a bond that stretched beyond time itself. Go with love, my Elena, he whispered softly. Live fully, love deeply, and remember, love never dies. As I absorbed his words, I sensed a gentle pull, drawing me away. The final image I held was of Samuel's loving smile, filled with promises of our eventual reunion. As I began to transition back from that divine realm, another figure approached me. This presence radiated a brilliant light, yet it felt utterly welcoming. As I looked more closely, clarity washed over me. It was him, Jesus. But he didn't resemble the depictions I had seen in art or the images I conjured from Scripture. He felt more alive, more real. With a compassionate smile, Jesus spoke directly to me. "Elena," he addressed me, his voice echoing with a soothing authority. "You have many questions about me and my teachings, don't you?" I nodded, my voice lost in the awe of his presence. So many uncertainties and doubts about faith and religion surged to the forefront of my mind in that moment. "My daughter," he began, "what you learned about me during your time on Earth has often been misrepresented over the ages. I didn't come to establish a religion or to judge anyone. My purpose was to teach love, to illuminate the divine connection that resides within each of you." As he spoke, it felt as if layers of misunderstanding were being lifted away, revealing a truth I had long sought. As I began to grasp the essence of spirituality, my perspectives shifted dramatically. It was as if a veil had lifted, allowing me to see past conventional beliefs and rigid practices. Sam, with his calm demeanor, shared insights that went beyond mere rituals. He emphasized that real spirituality is rooted in unconditional love, compassion, and finding inner serenity. It's not about grand cathedrals or strict doctrines, but rather about transforming one's heart and elevating our consciousness. He described the spiritual journey as an ongoing process for every soul, focusing on growth and evolution. Rather than viewing heaven as a distant realm, he explained it as a state of awareness reachable through love and empathy. "What you see as the Holy Grail," Sam said softly, "isn't something tangible. It's a profound understanding of reality, a way to break free from our limitations and unite with the divine." Each word he spoke resonated deeply within me, like a melody etched into my soul. This wasn't just intellectual knowledge, it was a truth that vibrated in every part of my being. "Elena," he gently reminded me, placing his hand on my shoulder, "spirituality isn't about the rituals you perform or the words you utter. It's found in the love you share, the kindness you extend, and the inner peace you cultivate." Before I could gather my thoughts, he enveloped me in a warm embrace. In that moment, I felt an overwhelming rush of love, compassion, and forgiveness washing over me. It was as though every hurt I carried was being mended and every doubt faded away. "Go in peace, Elena," he said as he stepped back. "Remember, I am always with you, not as some distant figure, but as a living presence within your heart." Those words lingered with me, marking a profound shift in my understanding of spirituality and my role in the universe. I found myself gently drifting back, carrying not just memories of the encounter but a transformative realization. It felt like passing through layers of existence, each one heavier than the last. The bright, welcoming light of that spiritual realm receded, and I began to reconnect with my physical form. Suddenly, I opened my eyes to the sight of a park, laying on the grass amidst a small group of people. A man, whose uniform identified him as a park ranger, was kneeling beside me, hands pressed firmly against my chest. "She's back!" I heard someone shout excitedly, and the ranger smiled down at me, relief written on his face. The worry on their faces was clear. "Elena, we're so relieved to see you back," Sam said softly, his voice tinged with concern. "You really gave us a scare." I attempted to respond, but my throat felt like sandpaper. A kind woman appeared, offering me a bottle of water, and as I sipped it slowly, the events began to piece together in my mind. I had a heart attack at the park. Thankfully, a nearby guard trained in first aid rushed to help, performing CPR until the ambulance arrived. As I was lifted onto the stretcher, my thoughts were a whirlwind. I recalled the glowing tunnel, my encounter with the divine, and the conversations filled with revelations. Yet here I was, back in the realm of the living, as if nothing at all had occurred. At the hospital, the doctors examined me thoroughly. To my astonishment, despite the heart attack's seriousness, my heart emerged undamaged. They called it a miracle. While lying on the hospital bed, trying to come to terms with everything, my children showed up. I could see the mixture of fear and relief painted on their faces. My oldest, Sarah, took my hand tightly. "Mom," she said, tears shimmering in her eyes, "we thought we lost you." Looking at them, an overwhelming love surged within me. It wasn't just the familiar love I had always felt. It was something deeper, something universal. For the first time, I could sense the divine light within each of them. "I'm here," I whispered gently, "and there's so much I need to share." As I recuperated in the following days, I grappled with how to articulate my experience. How could I express the unexplainable? Words struggled to capture the colors that transcended earthly existence, or the expansive love that seemed to engulf the universe. But in the moments I spoke, I noticed a shift in my children's eyes. Whether they fully believed my account or not, it was evident that something profound had transformed within me. The bitterness that had lingered since Sam's passing had vanished, replaced instead by a peace that felt entirely new. When I finally returned home from the hospital, everything appeared different. Colors were more vivid, sounds rang clearer, and in every person I encountered, I recognized a reflection of that divine light I had experienced. I realized my journey was just beginning. With many lessons ahead, I now held an unwavering certainty: we are never truly alone. The bond forged by love transcends even death. It endures beyond time itself. Equipped with this understanding, I felt prepared to tackle whatever challenges might lie ahead. In the weeks and months after my brush with death, a profound shift happened within me. It wasn't merely my perspective on the world that transformed. It was also how I perceived myself and interacted with everything around me. I initially noticed a profound tranquility that replaced the persistent anxiety I used to carry, a gnawing sense of emptiness that had haunted me for so long. Instead, I woke each morning filled with purpose and gratitude. The small pleasures of life, which I once overlooked, were reawakened in my heart. The melodic chirping of birds, the enticing aroma of brewed coffee, and the friendly smile from a passerby, all of these felt miraculous. My relationship with my kids began to shift too. The emotional gap that widened after Sam's passing started to close. I found myself more engaged and present in our interactions, appreciating them not merely as my children, but as individual spirits navigating their own paths. One afternoon, as we sipped tea on the porch, my daughter Elena inquired, "Mom, what's different? You seem changed." I took a moment to reflect before responding, "It feels like I've finally emerged from a long, bewildering dream. Now I understand that every moment is a gift, and each person we encounter has wisdom to share." My spiritual journey has also taken a completely new direction. I've lost interest in strict dogmas and rituals, discovering instead a direct connection to something greater during simple moments of quietude, whether it's admiring nature's beauty or extending a hand to someone in need. I've begun to meditate, which was foreign to me before, and during these tranquil moments, I often feel that same warm love I experienced during my near-death episode. It's as if a door opened, inviting me to a part of myself I had never truly acknowledged. Furthermore, my health has seen a remarkable upswing. The doctors were amazed by how swiftly I recovered after my heart incident. I began treating my body with greater respect, recognizing it as more than just a physical shell, but as a sanctuary for my spirit. Interestingly, I developed a newfound sensitivity to the emotions of others, almost as if I could sense their feelings directly. This heightened awareness has deepened my compassion and understanding toward those around me. One afternoon, as I strolled through Willowbrook Park, the very place where I had that profound near-death experience, I noticed a young mother sitting on a bench, tears streaming down her face. Without a second thought, I joined her, genuinely concerned. When I asked if she was all right, she let out a heartfelt sigh and started to share her burdens. She spoke of the overwhelming feelings of isolation and struggle that were weighing her down. As I listened, an incredible sense of compassion surged within me. I felt compelled to relay some insights I'd gained during my own experience, emphasizing that no one is ever truly alone and that love holds immense power. By the time our conversation came to a close, she embraced me tightly, her gratitude apparent as she likened my presence to that of an angel appearing just when she needed it. That poignant moment made me reflect on the purpose I had sensed during my experience. It dawned on me that perhaps my role was to connect with others, to spread the love and understanding I had been fortunate enough to receive. Life began to resemble a beautifully woven tapestry, where each interaction and event carried deeper significance. What once felt like mere coincidences now seemed like meaningful synchronicities guiding me along a path. My perspective on death transformed completely too. The dread I used to harbor faded away. I realized death wasn't an ending, it was merely a change, a transition. Although I missed Samuel profoundly, that longing was now intertwined with a tranquil joy, a belief that our love transcends physical boundaries. One clear night, while gazing at the vast expanse of stars in my backyard, an overwhelming sense of connection enveloped me. It felt as if the cosmos coursed through me. In that moment, I truly grasped what had been revealed to me, that heaven isn't a far-off destination, but a state of being we can access in our lives right now. This epiphany inspired me to pursue sharing my newfound wisdom, not through preaching, but through simple acts of kindness and meaningful conversations. I started volunteering at a nearby hospital, where I spent time with patients who were nearing the end of their lives. I recall one touching encounter with an elderly gentleman facing cancer. He took my hand and asked, "You're not afraid, are you?" I smiled and assured him, "Not at all, and you don't have to be either. It's just the next chapter of our journey." I could see his fear dissolve into a profound peace as we spoke. That night he passed away, and I couldn't help but feel that our connection had been a comforting bridge for both of us at that pivotal moment. As the months rolled on, I found myself in a unique position. People began to seek me out. They came to share their worries and ask for guidance. I didn't possess all the answers, not by a long shot, but there was something comforting about my presence. It felt as though I was radiating a bit of that divine light I had once encountered, a beacon of sorts. Yet, it wasn't all smooth sailing. There were days when the flood of emotions became almost overwhelming. The absence of Samuel tugged at my heart, and there were moments when I questioned if my experiences had been real or merely figments of an imaginative mind. In those challenging times, I would recall the words of Jesus, reminding myself that true spirituality lies in the love we share, the compassion we exhibit, and the peace we cultivate within ourselves. That reminder became my anchor whenever self-doubt crept in. This transformation was an ongoing journey rather than a one-off event. Each day unveiled fresh insights, opportunities for growth, and lessons waiting to be learned. While I had changed significantly, that evolution was a continuous process. I chose to embrace the present, letting go of fears about the future and regrets tied to the past. Every moment felt like a precious gift, a chance to experience and spread love, the very essence of our human existence. Then, about half a year after that first brush with death, I found myself face to face with mortality again. I was on my way to see my sister, driving through a neighboring town, when out of nowhere, a truck lost control and crashed into my vehicle. The sheer force was jarring. I remember the shattering sound of metal and the world turning upside down. A sharp pang shot through me, then there was silence. In an instant, I was outside my body, viewing the scene from above. I watched paramedics rushing to help, pulling me from the mangled wreckage. Surprisingly, I didn't feel a shred of fear. Instead, I experienced a profound sense of peace and acceptance. That loving presence returned, enveloping me as if the universe itself were wrapping me in its embrace. And then, that familiar voice spoke to me again. It was the voice I recognized as God. "Elena," it said, "you have a choice." Just like that, it all clicked. I knew I faced a decision. I could choose to return to that radiant realm of light and love I'd once known, or I could choose to go back to my earthly life, back to my body. For a brief moment, I let that thought sink in. The feeling of peace and love enveloped me, an unspeakable sensation that I couldn't ignore. Then, there he was, Samuel, waiting for me with that familiar, inviting smile. A part of me yearned to leap into his arms and linger forever in that blissful moment. But in the backdrop of my mind, I couldn't ignore the faces of my children and grandchildren and all the lives I had touched recently. Suddenly it clicked. My time on Earth wasn't finished just yet. I knew I had to go back. "You've truly grasped the lesson, my daughter." A gentle voice wrapped around me, as if embracing me with warmth. Life is a rare gift, a chance to evolve, to love, and to effect change. Make the most of it. Before I departed, I had a final embrace with Samuel. In that hug, I absorbed all our shared happiness, our memories flooding back. "I'm so proud of you, my love," he whispered. "Continue to live, continue to love. I'll always be with you." Then, just like that, I found myself back in my own skin. As soon as I opened my eyes, I was met by a paramedic with a worried but relieved smile. "Welcome back," he said, his demeanor reassuring. The days that followed were a whirlwind. Doctors scratched their heads in disbelief at my swift recovery, especially considering the serious nature of the accident. They called it miraculous, but deep down, I knew it was more than luck, a powerful reminder of my purpose in life. This second experience solidified the insights I'd gained from the first, the undeniable truth that life is precious and every single moment presents a chance to make a difference. When I finally left the hospital, I was filled with a resolute determination. My resolve was clear. I would live each day fully, embracing it as if it were my last, not out of fear, but with gratitude and intention. Each interaction became a chance to spread love and change someone's world. I found myself sharing my journey more openly, not in search of validation, but to bring comfort and hope to others. Many were weighed down by the fear of death, and I wanted to share the tranquility I've discovered. One day, my oldest grandson, Tommy, looked at me and asked, "Grandma, aren't you scared of dying?" I smiled at his innocent face. "Oh, honey, death is merely a transition, a bit like falling asleep and waking up in a beautiful new place. But for now, I'm really happy to be here with you." This second brush with death taught me something invaluable. Every return to life marks a fresh start, a new chance, and I was determined to embrace this opportunity with love and compassion every step of the way. Reflecting on my life, I've come to cherish every single day. It's incredible how much I've lived, learned, and grown through various experiences. I genuinely appreciate life, every moment spent here on Earth. The people who share this journey with me, the challenges that encourage me to evolve, and the sweet joys that brighten my days all fill me with gratitude. Going through near-death experiences reshaped my perspective in profound ways. I've come to realize that we are so much more than just our physical forms. Our essence, or soul if you prefer that term, is eternal. And love, it's the most potent force in the universe, capable of breaking through even the barriers of death. Life is not just a random sequence of events. It's a beautifully orchestrated path filled with growth and lessons. Every joy, every challenge, every interaction has meaning. Nothing is wasted, and nothing happens by mere chance. I've also discovered that spirituality is not a distant concept, nor is it confined to rigid rules or dogmas. It's more about how we live, embracing love, nurturing compassion, and seeking a connection with the divine in our everyday lives. Surprisingly, death, something I once dreaded, is now more like an old friend. While I love life too much to actively seek its end, I no longer fear what comes next. I understand that when my time arrives, it will merely signal the start of a new chapter, an exciting adventure ahead. Perhaps the biggest takeaway from all of this is that we don't have to wait until we reach the end to experience a slice of heaven. We can carve out these heavenly moments on earth through our acts of love and kindness. Each smile we offer a stranger, every helping hand extended, and all choices made out of love instead of fear or hatred bring a little more heaven into reality. We are truly fulfilling the purpose for which we were created. I'm not perfect, far from it in fact. I still have my doubts and fears, and there are days when sadness creeps in. I often find myself missing Samuel. However, I now see these feelings not as burdens, but as essential threads in the rich tapestry of human experience. If there's one thing I'd like the world to understand from my journey, it's this: love with all your heart. Love without reservations. Embrace not just your family and friends, but all living beings. Recognize the divine spark within everyone you encounter. Live each day as if it's your last, not out of fear, but with an attitude of gratitude and joy. Treasure the little things, the smile from a child, the song of a bird, the sun's warmth on your skin. These moments are precious and sacred, true gifts to be embraced. And don't forget the power of forgiveness. You know, holding on to anger and grudges is like carrying around a backpack full of rocks. It's such a heavy burden, but when we let go and forgive, both ourselves and others, it lightens our load and helps us truly embrace the present moment. In this hectic world, finding those quiet, peaceful moments can be tough. Yet, those moments of stillness are so vital. They remind us of our true essence and keep us connected to the divine. Remember, you're never alone in this journey. The love that brought us into existence is always here, within us, surrounding us, and linking us to everyone and everything. Each day brings its lessons and chances for growth. I don't have a crystal ball to see the future, but I face each day feeling hopeful. I carry the knowledge that I am loved, guided, and part of something far more significant than I can grasp. And you are too. All of us are threads in this magnificent cosmic tapestry, every one of us valuable, every life meaningful. We should live with that awareness, spreading kindness and positivity wherever we go. My life story is just one of countless others, but if sharing it brings even a tiny bit of comfort or understanding to someone, then I've fulfilled a piece of my purpose. In the end, it's all about love, sharing it, shining light on the darkness, and making even the smallest impact in someone's life. So here I am, continuing my journey with immense gratitude for every moment, eager to learn from each experience and fully prepared for whatever lies ahead. Life, in all its forms, is a breathtaking gift, and I intend to honor it by living fully and loving deeply until the very end.